Word of Life Bible Church. Bigger, stronger, and bolder.
The fear of God involves a sincere, unqualified faith. The leaning of your entire personality on God, in Christ, in absolute trust and confidence in His power, wisdom, and goodness. Now, this is what the fear of God is. Everything about you is about God. Can you hear me wherever you are sitting? Yes. If you have the fear of God, everything about you, every decision you make, everything you think, every behavior, every actions and reactions, everything is around God. Even the thief on the cross said to his friend, when the friend was mocking Jesus, he said to him, "You don't fear God?" He said, "We did wrong, that's why we are here." He said, "But this man, he did nothing. This is a thief." Now, let me tell you this. Do you know that there are unbelievers who behave better than Christians? Well, you may not clap your hand. But what I'm telling you is the truth. Yes, there are people who are total unbelievers whose behavior is better than people who say they are Christians and they are in church. It is painful, but it is true that there are unbelievers who fear God more than people who are supposed to know God and fear God. It's a very strange thing. Big error, my dear. 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 10. You know the scripture also, the first part of it. What did Paul say? He said, "Demas has forsaken me." Why? For he loved this present world. He loved this present world. So Demas has forsaken me. This was Demas that was with him, following him everywhere. Suddenly, he abandoned him. He turned his back. He retreated. He went back into the world. But look at the book of Ruth. You know this one too now. Ruth chapter 1 verse 16. When Naomi could not drive her, Ruth said, where you go, I will go. Huh? Is that not what he said? She said? Where you go, I will go. He said, where you lodge, I will lodge. He said, your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. He said, where you die, in verse 17, he said, that's where I will die. He said, where they bury you, that's where they will bury me. The only thing that will separate me from you is death. Now, ladies and gentlemen, those are words. Anybody can talk. But when you study the whole book of Ruth, you will see that she kept her words. Not like Demas. She did not turn back. This woman was from Moab. Did you know that God gave a law that Moabites should not enter the temple? There was a law banning them from entering the temple. But Ruth, God allowed her to enter the temple. Hey, listen. God did not stop there. She became the great-grandmother of David. So David is partly from a nation that was barred by God from entering the temple. And yet, this woman's great-grandson became the king of God's people. Fear this God. Fear this God. Why? Because a woman spoke words and she kept her word. When you fear God, whatever you say with your mouth, you will do with your life. Ruth wiped away tears from the eyes of Naomi. Why is it that we don't have the book of Naomi, but we have the book of Ruth? Naomi was an Israelite. Ruth was a Moabite. Why? Look at it yourself. Look at it yourself. This God is a strange God. But you see, he becomes strange because of your behavior. When Ruth was saying those words, heaven was recording it. And the angels were saying, let us see whether you will do what you have said. She did it. Wiped away tears from Naomi. When she had her child, guess what she did? She carried the child and gave the child to Naomi. I said, take. You are the owner of the child. It's hard for the mind to comprehend. She totally gave herself to this woman. In so doing, she was serving God. Out of the fear of God. Every step she took the permission of Naomi. If Naomi did not permit it, she will not do it. Now, I want you to think. She had friends. She must have gradually made some friends. And they will tell her, what did they do you? You be mumu? Why you go to follow human being like this? I can see her replying, no, I'm not following a human being. I'm following God. The fear of God changes your condition. Give it time. Give it time. You may not look all right today. People may be laughing at you. But fear God.
Yes, sir.
Fear God. You are not stupid when you fear God. Fear God. And this God will stand for you. This God will walk for you.
Welcome to the headquarters of Word of Life Bible Church, the International Gospel Center, a place of wonder, a place of grace, a place of favor, a place of greatness, a place of solution, and a place of God's glory. A family to belong. We don't only care about your soul, we care about your total well-being. We urge you to be a part of this glorious, heaven-bound, blessing on earth family of Bible Church. Bigger, stronger, and bolder.
Alright, my name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst, one of Nigerian comedy.
Alright, guys, back again, yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor AD.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, and just celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV. We wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different. Ruth Gender Foundation.
I'm Ruth Edema Collins. I hold a first degree in physics electronics, a postgraduate qualification in business administration, and a nationally certified French language tutor. Career-wise, I'm an educational facilitator. I'm the managing director at Atlantic Media and TV, and I'm also a director at Vocotech Integrated Services Nigeria Limited. I'm a wife and a mother, and I like dressing up to show up. Yeah, so that's basically me. Thank you. Root Gender Foundation was inspired from my personal experiences growing up as a young girl in a typical Nigerian environment. For me, it was being different. It made people bully me, abuse me, and harass me. I was always misunderstood and underrated. Root Gender is a foundation that is dedicated to building confidence in the Nigerian girl child through educational and inspirational programs, like supporting programs that promote girl child education. We also organize physical exercises for our young girls for the overall well-being of their mental and physical states, and also for the acquisition of self-defense skills. We also sensitize girls on laws that protect them. In our constitution, a lot of girls do not know that they have rights, that there are laws that protect their interests in Nigeria. Hence, they are vulnerable, they are living in fear, which is stopping them from reaching their full potentials. So we sensitize them on the laws that protect their interests. This, like I said, is visioned towards building confidence in the Nigerian girl child. So that is just a wrap up of what we do at Root Gender Foundation. I would say I resonate with the struggles and the challenges of the girl child, particularly the Warri girl child. I happen to grow up in the heart of Warri. I'm from an average background. My family is an average one, but I experienced a lot. Like I said, I was bullied, I was overlooked, I was harassed for being a different child, for daring to be different, and nobody was taking note and tapping into my potentials. So my interest for the girl child is I would love to be a voice for the girl child. They need people to believe in them. They need people to speak for them. I also want the Warri girl child to know that there is hope beyond the reef. I want them to see the bigger picture. I want them to know that they can compete on global platforms. They can compete on international platforms, and they can do very well. We have the likes of Ada Gold, or Maumi, and the rest of them. They are all competing very well on international platforms, and I know that you too can do that, and I want you to know that is why we are here. Root Gender Foundation is here to make you understand that you can actually be what you want to be. As part of our objectives at Root Gender Foundation, we are dedicated to promoting girl-child education. Like I said, I represent the brand Warri Girl Child. I represent the brand the African Girl Child because I have gone through the struggles and from there to here. So giving 2 million to the best female participants is just a way to share them on. It's just a way to make them know that we believe in you. I believe in you. You can look up to us. We are sharing you on. It is not about the money. We believe in your potential. We want our girls to know that you are doing the right thing at the right time. You are in the right place, and this is what you should be doing. That's why we are supporting you, and we will always be here to support you. Girl-child empowerment to me is enforcing laws that protect our girl child. You know, my NGO, we've been pursuing a bill that we will see to be passed. We are asking that our girls should be allowed to carry pepper spray as weapons of self-defense. Because if you look at it, our women have nothing to protect themselves. They are just there by the grace of God. So we are pursuing laws that will protect the girl child. So empowerment, girl child empowerment to me is enforcing laws that protect the girl child, educating the girl child on time and money management, financial literacy, and equipping them with self-defense skills. Also, access to quality education. This to me is girl child empowerment and nothing more. A girl child must possess effective communication skills. They should be able to communicate effectively. A girl child should be financially literate. She should know how to manage her finances, and she should also know how to manage her time. Yes. Also, most importantly, another skill is self-awareness. It's important for our girls to know who they are, to believe in themselves. That's the vision of our NGO, building confident girls that can achieve their full potentials in Nigeria. That is our NGO's vision. So yeah, those are some of the skills I believe that the girl child should possess. She needs role models. She needs people that have dared that path and have made it. Our young girls need role models. That's why we have to do better. We have to do the work. We have to bridge the gap. We have to share them on like we are doing. You can achieve your dreams. First, you have to make education your best friend. Every effort you put into learning will always be there for you to never fail you. Boys will break your heart, people will break your heart, but every effort you put towards learning anything, everything will always come through for you. So for you to achieve your dreams, look towards the right people, look towards the right direction. There are people that have achieved in that route. I will encourage you to look up to them, learn from them. That is just the way to achieve your dreams. My message to the Warri child, like I said, I represent the brand Warri Girl Child. We are letting the world know that we are not vile, we are not roused, we are educated, we compete intellectually, we have good things ahead of us. We can do it on the global platform, we can do it on the national platform, and we are everything there is to be a woman. I would encourage you, Warri Girl Child, make education your best friend. Make education your best friend. Learn new things. Learn new languages. Okay? And the sky will be your starting point. We are always here to cheer you up. Don't forget that my name is Ruth Edema Collins from Root Gender Foundation, and from all of us wishing you the best, we say keep watching Atlantic TV.
Ruth Gender Foundation.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
Hi everybody and welcome to Wawu Africa. This is the official launching and it's your host QJ and we are so excited to be here, guys. This is a brand new app, girl, for women, Christocentric women.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. My expectations are through the roof. We have amazing guests here today, so stay tuned.
And we're gonna be back.
Yeah, we will be back. Transformative power of women's economic empowerment. Our mission is simple yet ambitious: to provide a safe, inclusive and supportive environment, a safe, inclusive space where women can learn, earn, collaborate and thrive, where they can showcase their skills, share their stories and sell their products and services.
Every day I create, but no one sees me. Until now. Introducing Wawu Africa. Learn. Showcase. Connect. Earn. Now, the world sees my worth and pays for it. Wawu Africa, where women rise.
Okay, so the inspiration behind Wawu Africa, it stems from women being dealt the lower hand, if I may put it that way. Because in corporate world, we see that men always get the better pay, they always get better roles, and if there is a woman in a good position, it is assumed that she did something to get that position. So we're trying to change that narrative where we're saying, look, women are not just meant for the kitchen. Women need to earn more as well. Women need to be heard. Women need to be seen for what they can do, for their skills, not just as some sexual object or some sexual toy, because that is one of the things that has been, or the major thing that has been tied to when you say I'm a woman. That is one thing that people see first. So we're trying to change that narrative. We want women to be out there doing big things just like our male counterparts are doing, and not being dependent. We're trying to change that narrative of women are always so dependent on men. We want to be independent, not like we want to just do everything on our own, but we want to be able to stand as women in our various industries, as a lawyer, as a doctor, as an artisan, a content creator, whatever it is that you are. We want women to stand out there.
I think it's a beautiful and a fantastic phenomenon initiative that I think can metamorphose into things like skill acquisition for women, safe place for women training, etiquette for women, empowering women. We call it a man's world. I call it a gentleman's world, because the gentleman puts the woman first. Yes. And so I think this is a phenomenal idea. If everyone has a sister, mother, a daughter, one of them sister, mother, a daughter. So it's high time we started investing in the women and make this world a better place, a safer place for them. I'm thinking of a WOW counseling, for WOW rehabilitation, for drug addiction for women. I think it's something that is really huge that will begin to make. There are too many layers on what to do to make the world safe and safer for women. And so I believe that this is the beginning of the best days of this thing we just launched today. And so hoping for more.
Why did you decide to support WOW Africa? What does it mean to you as a woman?
It means everything. I am a woman first, and personally, I am a strong advocate for the girl child and for women affairs. So anything women, supporting them, lifting them, you'll find me there. So, but as per this, my media outfits, we are very proud to give them the visibility that they need to reach their targets and where they wish to go, and give them every other support that they need to reach the women that we hope to reach. Women need to learn. It is a basic skill that they must have. They must learn, they must earn, they must grow, and they must learn to collaborate. That's why we are here. I have met some amazing women here. She leads Africa. She's here too. So it is amazing when women support each other. We attain amazing heights. So we cannot overlook the importance of collaborating with other people, other women like us. It is very, very, very important.
Here at WOW Africa, it's an app that supports women. So what are your views on it?
In fact, it's a great idea because it will help women to be able to showcase their businesses. They don't need to, like online businesses now, they can have a space to put in their businesses and sell their products easily now for export.
My expectations are really high. I've worked with the owner, the person in charge for a while, and I know he's a very brilliant mind, and he has ideas, and this is one of them which has come to fruition. So my expectations are really high. It's a platform to help women be empowered, help women earn, help women scale up, and that aligns with the value of She Leads Africa. That's why we're here, partnering with them, encouraging them, and saying we're here, we're hailing you, we're behind you. We pray and hope that you scale, right, and achieve all your dreams.
WOW Africa, where women rise.
Don't stop. So it has been an amazing experience, hasn't it? Oh my gosh, we have so many expectations from WOW Africa, and it has been great vibing with you guys. It's your host QJ and Chi. Until next time, stay tuned.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined, uniquely different.
All right, my name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
CME Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor 80.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife Niger celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV. We wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Will the recent impasse between the federal government and ASU really lead to more disagreement, especially as it concerns our students and definitely in the tertiary institution staying at home, or will they further their education and at the end smile as real graduates that they should be? But that question is a major one that will definitely be looked at today on the show. With that, I want to welcome you to a Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. My name is Michael Gobadia.
Yes, and I am Mercy Iravo. I am super excited today. You know how excited I am on Fridays. Thank God it's Friday. How are you spending your weekend this weekend? All right, welcome once again to Viewpoint on Atlantic Media. And you know how we do it here. We'll start with the dailies, to the dialogue, the news, and of course the trending. And you know how we do it on trending. I have loads and loads of gist for you today on trending. You don't want to go anywhere. All right, so we're going on this quick break, and when we return, the dailies will be next.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Well, yes, the dailies is what we're having next. And for review today, as usual, we have 5 papers. We have the Vanguard, the Punch, the Guardian, This Day, and the Nation. I always enjoy starting with the Punch, and let's see what the Punch has as a major, especially on its front page. And the Punch this morning, the leading story reads, Nupeng, Dangote clash as tanker drivers deal collapses. You could still understand that just early half of this week, the DSS headquarters, a truce was reached, but it looks as if that has fallen apart. And right after that, Dangote Refinery says union membership not compulsory as Nupeng ponders a fresh strike. And, marketers urge adherence to MOU. NLC warns refinery against agreement breach. But get more of your story on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. Let's quickly see if we take some other leading stories at the top side, or the topmost side of the Punch. And 2027, Jonathan Obi hold closed door meeting. And you'll be meeting more of that story on page 30. INEC shortlist 14 new party applicants and disqualify 157. And all of that disqualification you can get on page 14. But a story I know you will get on page 23 is First Bank floors Nduka Obeabuna's GHL at the appeal court. And you know this case has lingered for a while now, and that's a major one right there on page 23 of the Punch. Let's see if we take some other stories just beneath the picture of the day and see if we can greet them up. And 5.6 trillion naira debt, energy crisis loom as gas funds hot supply. Woo! I hope it will not increase the sales of gas. But page 22 has more of that story. Court summons mark orders over ADC leadership tussle is another major screamer on page 30. Supporters await Fubara's London return ahead of resumption. And you can resume more of that story on page 7. But the picture of the day is that of the Director General Pharmaceutical Nigerian Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control. And for the 6-year-old suspect, Mr. Paul Uche, during the parade by NAFDAC for deportation of a whole packet of drugs that have been banned inside 277 cartons of potassium. And while he claimed that these were auto parts, and you can see that all happened yesterday in Lagos. Well, that's the much you can take from the Punch. And well, let's see if we get more, especially as it concerns the dailies.
All right, the Nation. Let's see what the major story reads. INEC clears ADA 13 orders to apply for registration as parties. While the rider says meeting kickstarts process next week. 157 applicants fail to scale hurdle. Well, you can read more of that story on page 5 of the Nation. Let's go to the top mass. BOA's 250 billion naira for smallholder farmers. And the rider says VP orders fast track. You can read that on page 4. A 54.9 trillion naira 2025 budget goes into effect. And the rider says efficiency is the goal. Well, you can read that on page 4 of the paper. FCCPC recovers 10 billion naira for cheated consumers. The rider says banking most affected. You can read that on page 6 of the paper. First Bank floors Unduka's Obaigbena's GHL at Court of Appeal. And you can read that on page 4 of the paper. Let's see what we have at the side mass. Security, UK lifts red flag on Kaduna. And the rider says Ansaru leader convicted for Kuje prison's jailbreak. You can read that on page 5 of the paper. Appeal court asks chief registrar to sell escrow crude belonging to GHL, others in FPSO Tamara Tokini. You can read more of that on page 5 of the paper. Brazilian ex-president guilty of coup plotting. That's on page 5. Nupeng Dangote clash again. That's on page 7. And the picture of the day, all right, that's the Olubadan and other Yoruba monarchs here during a courtesy visit of the Olugbo of Ugbo Kingdom to Olubadan of Ibadan yesterday. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on The Nation. Let's see what this day has for us today. The major story reads, Nigeria Labour Congress, Ozekome, Natasha's lawyer, condemn Senate over Senator's prolonged suspension. And the rider says, Labour, this is descent into dictatorship, brazen premeditated assault on democracy, threatens to mobilize against Senate. Constitutional law, continued suspension is political victimization and unconstitutional. Natasha's lawyer replies, National Assembly clerk threatens further legal action. Well, you can read more of that on page 8 of the paper. Let's see what we have at the top mass. GHL, First Bank wins battle but loses war to retain crude proceeds from FPSO Tokini. And the rider says, a Court of Appeal, we are determined to protect the crude from First Bank's dissipation, pending determination of court case and or arbitration. Well, you can read more of that on page 8 of the paper. NUPRC at 9,600 barrel per day. Nigerian crude oil losses slumped to 16 yellow in July. Well, that's on page 5 of the paper. Let's see what the picture of the day is. 2027 loading, Obi visits Jonathan. So that picture was taken yesterday after a closed-door meeting with Jonathan in Abuja yesterday. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on this day. Let's see what The Guardian has for us. The major story reads, Open defecation crisis worsens, threatens 2030 sanitation target. And that's also the graph of the day. Let's go to the top mass. INEC rejects 157 applications, clears ADA 13 orders for registration. That's on page 4 of the paper. Banks, FMCG customers top FCC PCs 9,091 complaints, a 10 billion naira recovery. That's on page 16. Implementation of 2025 budget begins in September, says federal government. That's on page 4 of the paper. First Bank floors Unduka Obaigbena's GHL at the Court of Appeal. Well, you can read that on page 30 of the paper. Let's go to the bottom mass. ADC splits deepens as faction claims court barred Mark Aregbeshola. Well, that's on page 6. MRA faults attack on journalists, urges intervention. That's on page 28 of the paper. Lagos activates Ebola response system as Dr. Congo battles outbreak. That's a sad one. It's on page 26 of the paper. And Appeal Court orders Chief Registrar to confiscate crude on board FPSO Tamara Tokine. That's on page 27. Let's see what the picture of the day is about. All right, that's the Chief Executive Officer of the Guardian papers during his courtesy visit to the Sterling Towers yesterday. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Guardian. Up next is the Vanguard.
Yes, the Vanguard is the next and indeed the last paper for review today. And on the Vanguard this morning, a quite different tale from others. And this is sticking with sports, most loved by many Nigerians. World Cup, ex-Eagles demand the NFF board quits if Nigeria fails to qualify. And I can hear many men saying, we agree. But I will agree to take some riders to that. Entire NFF board must go, says Mikel Obi. Olise blames Super Eagles' poor run on foreign coaches. And well, you can just get more of that story on page 8. Let's quickly see if we take some other leading stories at the top mass side of the Vanguard this morning. First Bank wins appeal in landmark case against Nduka Obaigbena's General Hydrocarbons Limited. Is more on page, that should be page 8 of the Vanguard. But let's see if we take some other leading story just at the side mass of the Vanguard. Ghana receives Nigerian West African deported by the United States of America. It's a major one on page 6. Dangote Nupeng Bika over alleged breach of Park Reach at the DSS headquarters. Is another one you can quarter around on page 27. And leaving that to other major stories, ADC leadership battle to remove Mark Agbeshola continues on Monday. And page 28 has more of that story. 6 days to Fubara return, Ibas legacies. Others raise mixed expectation in Rivers. And well, don't have mixed feeling, just read it up on page 14. And citing interests of justice, Appeal Court asks a chief registrar to sell escrow crude belonging to DHL, Con Oil, NNPC in FPSO Tamara Tokine. And I'll just tell you to get more of that story on page 9. But the picture of the day is more of a mixed one. I'll just rather take the one beneath. And that is Jonathan received Peter Obi. You know, they were at a closed-door meeting just yesterday, all geared towards the 2027 general elections. And we do know that both men are being they are being sought for by the People's Democratic Party as a leading candidate for the 2027 general elections. Well, that's much you can take from the papers, but we still have a few more time for us to really look at some majors, especially as it concerns those big headlines on the front pages of the Daily. And one that we'll talk about, and one that I felt you read out, is that from The Guardian. It's still depressing to find that we still have open defecation in the country. And well, it's something of wonder and quite an embarrassment that a country having 200 and so million persons, with us being one of the main pride in Africa, we're still having open defecation as a problem. Mercy, well, it's a sad tale, but well, it's happening.
It's very sad one. Like even Lagos is worse.
Wow.
I remember seeing one footage of somebody complaining that why would somebody with a complete, but I don't want to believe it's somebody that is mentally stable. You know, we have the people, mentally unstable people roaming the streets. So I feel they might be one of the causes of all of this open defecation. I don't really think somebody that is okay,
sane,
completely stable, sane, and all of that would openly defecate. No, I think this has to do with more of those mentally unstable people in the streets.
Well, you might just be surprised that they are not mentally unstable, but checking their mental states will be also a best way to really curb this problem. In case they are being arrested, I will employ them just like they did in Lagos State some couple of years back. When you drive against traffic, apart from arresting you, they'll take you to a psychiatric ward to check your mental state. If that will help out in really knowing if these persons are sane, that they are doing such insanity in public, it will help us in a great way. But still looking at more other stories, especially at the front page of the dailies. I know Mercy might not be a fan of this, but I'll just talk about it because it carries a whole lot of weight, especially as it concerns Nigerian men. It's the issue of the World Cup qualifiers. You know, we had a draw with South Africa just within a week when many felt that if we had won that match, it gives us a slim chance of really qualifying.
Yeah.
But now we need to win the other two remaining matches and hope, that's where the fears last, that our other opponents will lose, and just for us to see if I have a slim margin of qualifying for the World Cup. But just like Mikel Obi said, he feels that if, and he says if, there's a failure of Nigeria qualifying, all the NFF board members should go. Well, Mercy, I know the women might not really understand this, but it gives us great pleasure when we see ourselves in the World Cup.
Yes, in as much as I'm not really a football fan, but I really am proud of my country and I really want to be proud of them. So I really want to see them win the cup. Okay. It's going to be a big one for us. The girls, the female did it, right? So that's the Falcons, right?
Yeah.
They did it. So I really want the Super Eagles to do it. They should bring the cup home.
But anyway, we'll pray they qualify first before we bring in the cup home. Well, that's our only prayers. But anyway, still talking about, still on the front page of the daily, a major one that's making the round on all the dailies is a visit of no other person but Peter Obi to former President Goodluck Jonathan. All in the bid. On the mind, it was a closed-door meeting. We did not hear snap of, we did not see or hear any information about that meeting. But we know it was geared towards the issue of the 2027 general elections and how both might be strategizing to see if they'll be the forerunner, especially on the main opposition ticket, the People's Democratic Party.
Okay.
Do you feel this is a holy alliance and one that many Nigerians should, or the APC should lose sleep over?
The truth is, I have a lot to talk about this issue, this visit. Because, was it earlier this week, Peter Obi said he was going on a break from all of this, politics.
Yeah, he needed to treat himself.
Yes, he needed to treat himself. So I thought that break was going to last long because for him coming to announce it publicly, I thought it was really going to take time. I was even thinking maybe it might affect the 2027 elections. But it was so bad that just the very next day, I started seeing his visits to this, his visit to that, and next, his visits to ex-President Goodluck Jonathan. And I'm like, why did you come out to tell us that you needed this break? What was the break for? That's one thing I am still trying to get. And going to see Jonathan while you're supposed to be resting, according to your doctor, I don't know what that visit is about, though, but I know that it's about the 2027 presidential election. What do you think?
Well, anyway, I feel that Peter Obi is always having a need to do what he feels will benefit this country. And he feels that, well, his health is a great concern. That's why he took a day or two to rest. On the mind, Mercy feels indifferent about that resting period, and he feels he needs to settle down. I don't know whether Mercy has the number of the wife, and the wife is telling Mercy, tell my husband to sleep. But anyway, he would not sleep, especially when he feels there's enough to be done in the country. And I feel that push of, oh, there's still plenty to be done. The people are lacking in this is what's making him have that renewed energy to still push on issues as it concerns politics. Hence the visit yesterday to former President Goodluck Jonathan. But anyway, as much as we've talked about that also, another major one that is making the round, especially as it concerns the daily, is the issue of Dangote and also Nupeng. Many felt that the whole drama, undermining did not win any Nollywood award, would have ended with that very big truce that was held at the DSS headquarters just within the week. But funny enough, it looks as if feeders are reaching us that it looks as if that agreement has broken down. And Dangote is insisting that his workers has every right to and not to be part of the union. But the union feels indifferent. And they feel that sharp practices might be meted down on these workers if they are not part of the union. But are Nigerians not going to be at the receiving end as usual, like we experienced early this week?
The truth is, I feel this thing is something they can just work out amicably. You don't need to allow this. Was it about 2 days ago, right?
Yeah.
There was no fuel, no means of transportation and all of that. But the truth is, this thing is something they can just work out amicably. I remember Dangote saying that it's not compulsory for his workers. And you as a worker, you're supposed to, I feel this thing is something for your own benefit. Okay. So I don't see any reason why you should feel like you don't want to be part of the union. Because if your boss is asking you not to join this union, it might be for his own selfish interest. Yeah. So for your own benefit, you should join, and not Dangote coming out to say it's not compulsory. Anybody that wants to join should join the union. So I feel it's something they can just work out amicably.
Well, anyway, Mercy feels indifferent from that. On the mind, she's not under the employment of
Dangote.
No, and also Nupeng, speaking on behalf of the workers. But the truth is, just like you stated, please, that problem can be resolved amicably without it falling into a full-blown industrial action, and at the end leave us in pains and a whole lot of stress. We'll just plead on behalf of both parties to please see how they can come together and work it out. But talking about working it out, INEC seem to have worked out those that are clear for registration. And we're talking about the recent move by INEC to register. And they have registered 13 parties, including the ADC. And in every way, they've put down 157 parties, saying they did not meet the criteria for them to be registered. Well, it looks as if everything is now taking shape for the 2027 general elections. Mercy, 13 parties cleared. We're now having more than 100 parties ready for the elections, and 157 told, well, go and come back and try again later.
Yes, 157 applicants were asked to go and try again later. So does it mean 157 with 100, we are supposed to have about 250 something to 300 political parties for the elections? That's a lot.
We might even think of registering ours. We'll call it the Mercy Michael political party.
M-squared political party.
And we'll have Mr. Kess as our
No, I'll come on. Remember I told you the last time that when I become a politician, I would change most of those things you raised concern about. So I feel once we are able to register the M-squared party, of course, I'll come out as the presidential candidate for the M-squared party.
Well, anyway, no surprise. We have somebody that is always there. Every second is coming out as the presidential candidate. Mercy, I feel you have a mentor. But anyway, let's not dwell on that too long. I'm already beginning feeling sleepy on account of Mercy ruling the nation. But what we'll do now...
Okay, you don't trust me.
Well, it's not like I don't trust you. The problem is... Anyway, let's leave what I feel. Because makeup will suffer. But all I would say is that we need to go on a break now. And when we come back, definitely dialogue will be best right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace. Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
I am SP Dafe Bright and this is Delta State Police Command. Today we'll be treating and addressing an issue that's different from what we've been doing before, not parading suspect this time, but bringing to you a very important information. Do we know that over 85% of Nigerians do password their phones, whether it's Android phones or iPhones? There's always a password. But how come when we lose our phones, by the time we go to retrieve our lines, we go to our bank to check our bank statement, we discover that these people who collected these phones must have siphoned the phones. Now, there are times the people who steal these phones, it is not your phone that they actually need. What they need is your SIM card. Now, how does the SIM card become useful to them? Not just any SIM card, but a SIM card that is linked to your bank account, the one that you usually use to receive SMS alerts. That is what they need. Now, by the time they collect your phone, steal your phone, rob you of your phone, what they do is that they remove this SIM card from your phone and insert it on another phone. So your phone does not really need to power on. They don't even need you to give them your phone password. They don't even need your ATM password. The moment they have access to your SIM card, they can do anything they want to do with your bank account, because all they need is to generate an OTP, and the message, the OTP that is called one-time password, will be sent to that your SIM card, and with that they can do anything they want to do with your account. That is why people lose millions of their life savings simply because they lost their phone. By the side of this video, we'll be doing an illustration. You will see an illustration that talks on how you can password your SIM card. Now, the topic that we are here to discuss, passwording of SIM card. When you get a phone, pick that your phone now. See how you can password your SIM card. If you password your SIM card, by the time for any reason, your phone gets to the wrong hand, even if they remove your SIM card and insert on another phone, the first thing that you will get is a prompt that you should enter your SIM PIN. The moment they cannot get the SIM PIN, they cannot use your SIM card for anything. After the trial of 3, the POC prompt will come because the SIM card will be blocked, and you can only unblock that SIM card when you have the POC number. Some of us don't have our SIM pack, because on the SIM pack it is written there the SIM PIN and the POC number. But because some of us don't have our SIM pack, I would advise you to quickly locate the nearest office of your service provider, be it Airtel, Globalcom or MTN. Approach them and request for your POC number. Once you've gotten your POC number, you follow these instructions and ensure that you password your SIM PIN. Your SIM PIN is very, very important. On my phone, for instance, once you turn off the phone and you turn it back on, you must enter your SIM PIN. If you cannot enter your SIM PIN, the SIM card will be useless. And I'm telling you, once they cannot have access to your SIM card, your money will be safely in the bank. They cannot have access to. There was a time I lost my phone, and it took me about 2 weeks to go to MTN office to retrieve my SIM card. Why did I wait 2 weeks? Because I knew I had a SIM PIN. I knew they would not have access to my bank account. I knew they cannot even use my SIM card for anything. Some of these people, when they steal phone, we'll be hoping that, we'll track the phone. Some of them don't even sell the phone. They will just condemn the phone and just get the SIM card to see if they can have your money. Please, they say a word is enough for the wise. It is very, very important. Don't see this video and just pass it by. Watch this video to the end. We're almost approaching the end of the video. Ensure that you take the lesson. Please password your SIM card. They say a stitch in time save 9. It's very, very important. Make haste when the sun shines. Not be to call. You don't have to start running and start saying, what do I do? What do I do? When you can prevent it. Let's not forget, prevention, they say, is better than cure. Thank you.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Between ASU and the federal government. because the Federal Ministry of Education has clarified that most recent and binding agreement between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of University, ASU, was last signed in 2009. A statement issued recently on the Ministry official X, formerly Twitter handle, and obtained by Dialogue yesterday, Thursday, 11th day of September 2025, stated that the clarification became necessary following comments made by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alasa, during an interaction with journalists in Abuja regarding the commitment to ending the 16-year statement with ASU. The statement noted that the federal government and ASU agreement was last signed in 2009, ascertained that the agreement remains the latest binding agreement between the federal government and the union. The ministry further explained that while a draft agreement was produced by the NIMI BRICS-led renegotiation committee that was inaugurated by the then Minister of Education, Malam Adamu in 2017, the draft agreement was never signed by the federal government. But with this clarification, help calm rattle nerves, and with such admission by the ministry be seen as an olive branch with the final resolution of this statement? And what approach should the Academic Staff Union of University take in ensuring that the binding agreements are respected? Well, these and more as it concerns the recent impasse between the federal government and ASU is what this edition of Dialogue is all about. And we're talking about the federal government and ASU impasse, the way forward, knowing that ASU has already threatened that if nothing is being done, then we might see the mother of all strikes, and many Nigerians will certainly not be happy to see all of that. But to help us really look at this very issue, we're now being joined by no other person but the chairman, talking about ASU chairman in Fupri, and we're talking of no other person but Engineer Dr. Wilfred Okologume. He'll be joining us all the way from Sabah to really help us look at this issue, especially as it concerns the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Hello, Engineer Dr. Wilfred Okologume. Good morning and welcome to Atlantic TV. Is Dialogue on Viewpoint. Good morning, can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning. I can hear you. Good morning to our viewers.
Well, nice having you on the show this morning. And I want us to first start. I know you heard my introduction, but I want us to first start with the statement coming from the Ministry of Education, which clarified that the most recent binding agreement between the federal government and your union was really done in 2009 and not, as been said by the Minister of Education when he said it was that draft that was done in 2021. So let's really understand, because that's a major concern as it concerns the planned strike and the impact or the agitation that ASU has. Let's really get more clarification. Is the last binding agreement signed in 2009, or was it the proposal signed in 2021? Let's understand.
Thank you very much. I think good enough the ministry tried to make some clarification. It bears to mind the way political officials, government officials tend to see issues. Having said that, it's quickly good that in responding to this, I'll try to link up from where we started up to that point. The first ever agreement that led to change of narrative in Nigerian university system was actually signed in 1992. That was what led to the introduction of 2% education tax on companies and leading to the establishment of tech fund, and also the concept of university autonomy, condition of service XYZ. While also in 2009, the union also had engagement with government, which led to 2009 was signed. And key components of that agreement included the funding for revitalization, which actually proposed that 1.3 trillion naira will be released in tranches over 6 years. As at 2009, the government will release 1.3 million naira in tranches over 6 years for revitalization of public universities in Nigeria. And that is as outlined in the 2012 needs assessment report done by the same government team.
Okay.
And also, I think that agreement also had component of academic allowance, university autonomy and academic freedom, talked about improved condition of service. Now, leaving that phase of 2009, I'm trying to give us the history of this narrative too.
Yes.
In between 2009 and 2002, there have been other form of engagement and agreement with government. But no, there were not term agreement. Like, for example, in 2013, there was a memorandum of understanding between the union and government with regards to the implementation of the 2009 agreement. When government to implement that, the union had actions in 20, which led to signing of a memorandum of understanding, which is another form of an agreement. And in that MOU, it was a crucial point of it because that day came up after a strike action by our students that lasted about 5.5 months, where government had committed to releasing the 1.3 trillion naira for revitalization in tranches, and government made the first release via that MOU. Also, in 2017, thereabout, the narrative was still there. You understand? Another MOA, Memorandum of Action, was also signed. So, in summary, so that I don't belabor the issues I'm trying to track based on, I'm focusing on your question. In summary, the 2020, first of all, prior to that, we had the Damale-led committee. We have the committee led by Babalaki.
Okay.
Now you now have the Nimi BRICS committee.
Yes.
Now the Nimi BRICS committee, when the union was engaging that committee, the first question that the union asked them, do you have the mandate of your principal, which is the government, so that we avoid this issue where things are complete, then it will not be signed.
Okay.
You get the concept? Now the committee here said, yeah, mandate of their principal. Now a draft agreement was now reached between the government team and the Nimi BRICS team. But prior to that, we also have 2019 MOA, Memorandum of Action, 2020 Memorandum of Action. These are all agreements. So it's surprising the way the minister sounded. But speaking on the Nimi BRICS, a draft agreement was reached because the committee headed by Nimi BRICS is the government side. The union have a team. A draft agreement was entered, and it was meant for Nimi BRICS took it back to its principal for them to give him authorization to close it out by signing it off. That was never done. You get the point? So the basis of the discussion now is this that what have been discussed severally by previous committee like the Gamale Onosode committee in 2009, you have the Wale Babalaki committee in 2017, the Muzala Jibri committee in 2020, and the Nimibris committee in 2022, all still talking about renegotiation of the 2009 agreement.
Well, Dr. Wilfred, I'll plead with you to hold on because let's set the ball of our discussion on the issue of that very agreement. Now, you made mention that very proposal, draft proposal, 2021 draft proposal, being handled by Nimi BRICS was not signed by the government. But I could still remember that very committee was inaugurated by the then Minister of Education, Malam Adamu Adamu. So let's try to understand. He inaugurated that very committee to, in every way, go into that discussion with your union. But there were some issues that were not resolved that made the federal government pull out without signing that 2021 draft agreement. Now, my question, because the Minister of Education recently said that the 2009 agreement was not binding. Now, what were the factors in the 2021 draft agreement that were also in the 2009 agreement that's the bone of contention that the government is still hinging on as the reason for them not really looking at this agreement and in every way holding it to bind? What is the issue there?
Okay, thank you very much again. Beautiful question. I deserve further clarification. The 2009 agreement is binding because it's an agreement. It has components that governments are yet to implement over the years. So the 2022, which has been reviewed severally by different government committees, is tied towards the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement, so that the areas government are yet to take actions. What are the proposed plans to take that action? That's the concept of the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement. And now that's why the issue of trust comes on the part of government. Now, in that same committee, the Nimibris committee, inaugurated by the then Minister of Education, Adamu, he gave the committee 3 months time frame to complete the work and produce a draft agreement that will be submitted to government. The committee completed her work, produced the draft agreement, and sent to their principal. Fortunately, for reasons best to them, they did not sign it off. You understand? That is the aspect there. Because that document still boils under the issues of what has been existing prior to 2009. Revitalization fund, proliferation of public university, condition of service, which is key, because Nigerian academics have been on one salary structure since 2009. If you look at African average, Nigeria even low, very, very low in African average. Been on the same salary structure since 2009. A professor, what is earning in 2009 is what is earning till date, despite the economic challenges and the issues. So that was what was documented by Nimibris committee. They agreed and proposed a new salary structure in line with the realities then. But we don't understand the reasons why our government failed to sign it off, because it's their committee representing them. You understand? So it's for them to explain why they failed to close that out. And that is what is still lingering. That led to the Tinubu government, the present administration, I think in October 2024, now inaugurated another committee, the Yayale Ahmed Committee of 2024, to still renegotiate the same 2009 agreement. One, Yayale Ahmed, of course, you are aware, is the former head of service of the Federation. And the government also gave that timeline again that have since expired. And that committee have since submitted their report, the draft agreement again, draft report, to their principals. And that is the stage we are now, waiting for government to say, okay, this is what they are agreeing to, in line with what their own committee have proposed. That's not what the issues are. So we don't really understand why government...
What the issues? It looks as if we are now getting clarity on what the problem is, and it's all borders on the issue of the salaries, especially as they try to renegotiate it. Like you said, 2009 till 2025 is almost 20 years in the making, and the same salary structure is also being taken by your union. But anyway, let's, as much as you've given us clarity, and we feel we need to hear from the government as of the reason why they've not put paper to pen, especially in that 2021 draft agreement, let's look at other contending issues, because we know apart from that very 2009 agreement, there are other contending issues that your union is also seeking for, especially recently. And if we look at more of the issues, you talked about the revitalization of university infrastructure, which is also a reason for you people, your recent agitation, payment of outstanding salary arrears ranging from 25% to 30%, promotion arrears that have accumulated over 4 years, and withholding of a 3.5 year salary among other unpaid salaries. Now, I know all of this is what is now bringing this recent agitation, but one I want us to really look at now is the issue of revitalization of the university infrastructure. Now, we could also still know by our records that only in June this year, the federal government, especially through the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Aloasa, came out to say there's a new partnership, public-private partnership, that would every way kickstart to help develop infrastructures in the university. So my question, this started in June, undermining your recent agitation just came out in August. Would there not have been understanding on the part of your union to let government see how they can settle down on this issue of the PPP, rather than putting that among your recent agitation? Would that revitalization of the university not have been allowed to rest now, See how the PPP plan will come on board before you people now pick that up as another reason for your push or agitation on going on for a strike.
All right. Thank you very much. I really enjoy this platform. We clear a lot of issues.
Yes.
Now, you see, the concept of revitalization is tied to the 2009 agreement.
Yes.
When we talk about the revitalization fund, it is what was agreed in 2009 agreement, leading to the injection of 1.3 trillion naira over 6 years to at least upgrade infrastructure and all whatnot in Nigeria universities, at least to measure up with global standard. It is part of the 2009 agreement that government have failed to implement. So let's understand that concept. Okay. Then when you talk about, looking at an approach to also ensure revitalization, it brings to bear that I need to remind our viewers that the 1999 agreement, it was actually recommended to government that as part of the options to complement the funding needs, because we know government will always say they don't have all the money.
Yes, because that's what they are saying.
Introduce a 2% tax. And that was what led to the establishment of TED Fund. TED Fund is ASU baby. TED Fund was meant to complement, that is an intervention agency. Yeah. But if you discover that since the introduction of TED Fund, over the years, government have failed on their part to fund. The only agency that is now funding infrastructure, staff development in Nigerian university is now TED Fund. It's the solely dependent source. And it's supposed to be an intervention agency, not to replace government.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
That is, if you go to all the universities, if you remove all the TED Fund projects, if you remove all the needs assessment projects, two babies of ASU, once you remove that, delete that from any university, be it state or federal, remove it, you know that the university are empty lands. And these two components are components from ASU. You get the point? Now you are saying government is looking at private sector. If we propose education tax, which led to the creation of TED Fund, and government pulled away, making TED Fund to be the sole source of running and funding university, government pulled away. Why can't you think that if we still allow government to say, private sector, government will also pull away? Because government are the proprietors of these universities. And the word university is universal. We must measure up to what is obtainable in order client. Okay. That is basically what it is. So if you see all the narrative you just said are still tied to the 2009 agreement, because these are components already enshrined in the agreement. We are not saying anything new. Then you talk about the issue of our complaint as it concerns promotion areas. People are promoted. The fund has been budgeted for. You are not paying them. You get the point. Then you expect us to about that? No.
Okay. Well, Dr. Wilfred, I'll plead with you to hold on. We'll come to the arrest. I just want us to take it bit by bit so we understand what the grievance is and where your union stands, especially as it concerns some of the issues. Now, let's still remain with the revitalization of the university, because I'm really concerned about that. That seems to be second on your list of demands, especially as it concerns the 2009 agreement and the 2021 draft agreement of your union. Now, let's come back to the revitalization. In our own knowledge at Dialogue here, we made our investigation and we found out that in February of this year, almost 300 billion naira was to be released for revitalization of universities. And funny enough, that very money has already been appropriated for in the 2023 Appropriation Act is there. So the money is there. We only learned recently that the Accountant General of the Federation is saying he needs the president go ahead before he releases that money. Now, my question now, knowing that that money is already budgeted for, is already there in the bank, waiting for the federal government, or rather Mr. President, to give go ahead, will it not also be better if you reach out to the ministry and the Accountant General of the Federation to look at that very 300 billion naira that was to be released? Yeah, you talked about in trenches, the 1.3 trillion naira. This is a huge part of that money. So would it not be good if there's a clear negotiation between the federal government and your union to deal with some of these little bottlenecks that is still holding that money down?
Yeah, thank you very much. The 300 billion you saw in 2023 Appropriation Act is still a baby of our discussion with government on how to release the the revitalization fund. Because the first release government ever made was 200 million and they stopped. When we had the issues and challenges with government in 2021, we led to the mid-risk committee discussions and the rest. Part of the discussion after that post now with the ILA committee is approach on how government can resolve it. That was why also then in 2023, the then government now budgeted 300 billion. Now we waited to release for that same 300 billion. So discussions are still on, and suffice to say, I just hope government see if we are part to release the 300 billion. The comment that is coming from government officials is that money is nowhere. Even when it was there, I say that money is nowhere. They will likely release 50 billion. You see how funny it is. Between 2023, we're in 2025, and that money was budgeted in 2023. It's in the appropriation as a law. The same government did not release it. Now, the point is this. Will it take Nigerians to always lament for government to keep doing what they ought to have done? Yeah. You said you have budgeted for it. Release it. You want us to agitate. For you to release it and use to upgrade infrastructure and equipment in your own university, which will help to promote research capability of Nigeria as a nation and makes us to have indigenous technological advancement. You don't want to. We must agitate. Just the way you recommended that we should get to the academia. Must we be doing all that? Must you push people to do the job they are paid to do? But we will push because we are pushing, and I can reliably inform you that 300 billion might likely not be released, but a part or a fraction of it is what government are already making plans to release in the coming months or coming weeks or coming days. Okay. We don't know what it is. But however, it's good Nigerians know that the same government they are trying to use consultants for that same purpose. You see, you give and take with your process. Anyways.
Well, anyways, we hope it doesn't go towards that route. And in having consultants to be part of it, because we do know the consultant fees will be charged and a majority of or chunk of that money will go. But anyway, I'm also happy undermining you said there are feeders that the money are not there anymore, but the money will be there, and according to the Appropriation Act, that money is made already budgeted for that revitalization of the universities. But anyway, let's leave that and come now to the issue of salary arrears. I'm a bit in the dark to understand what that 25 to 30% allowance range is. If you can really help us with clarity on that, because that's another major one that seems to be holding your union against the federal government. So please really help us to understand that 25 to 35% increase. Hello? Okay, let's see how we can reconnect with Engineer Dr. Wilfred Okologume as he gives us a breakdown of all that seems to be. And we're looking at the recent impasse between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Okay, we have him back, and let's return back to him for him to really give us a clear understanding of what that salary arrears seems to be, because it's also a major part of the issue that ASU is holding against the federal government, and most likely would push them into strike. Hello, Dr. Wilfred. Yeah, I'm happy you're back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me now. Hello?
Yeah, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, better. So give us clarity, especially as it concerns that 25 to 30% salary.
Can you hear me? I can hear you loud and clear.
We seem to be in the dark, especially as it concerns that demand of ASU.
Yeah, I understand the question here. On the 25 and 35 increment, we rather call it an award. It was an award from government.
Award?
Where, if you recall that, yes. Yeah, it was an award by government across all sectors of public service.
Not just the academic sector itself. Right? Okay.
Yes. It's not peculiar. It's across the entire civil service and public service. Okay. Government gave that award for salary adjustment across the board. Then now what we're saying is that other public servants and civil servants have been paid their arrears for that 25. But we are a little bit worried that those of us in the academia, we have not been paid the arrears of that adjustment. We are not saying anything out of the blue.
Okay.
We have awarded it to us of federal government. Even some state government, including Delta State government, adopted the same thing. And they have also paid the arrears. Bayelsa State government, so in short, the entire federation adopted that adjustment. Because it was based on when the subsidy removal XYZ,
Yes.
that was why that award, it was an award, a wage award from government.
Okay.
You understand? And it's part of the reasons that we in ASU we are being careful government. Because we say whatever it is that you are giving to us, it must be based on CBA, collective bargaining agreement, so that when we sign it off, if you fail, we know what to say. Now the wage award, you have awarded something. We are not complaining. Now you have settled other sectors, the same federal workers. You pay them, you refuse to pay us our own arrears, and you want us to agitate for it. And those persons, they don't agitate. So it's a simple issue. It's not something that I feel should warrant a discussion. You understand? It's not something that's the explanation of that 35, because it simply means for those in the professorial cadre, it's 35% wage award. Then for those from senior lecturer down, it's 20% adjustment. And the table is there, and that is being implemented is years of it. Because as at when it was announced and entered into, it has an implementation date.
Okay.
So they have paid their arrears to other sectors based on the implementation date, but they are failing, or probably they are delaying to respond to our asks, and our members are agitated. It's as if we have different class of citizens and different class of workers. So our members are agitated and say, no, we must remind government to also do this just the way it has done to others. So that's the 25-35.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that clarity, because we're almost wondering if that was a separate part of the discussion, the initial 2009 and 2021 draft agreement. But let's come back to some other major issues, because with the way you've talked now and what you've stated, it baffles Nigeria that have there not been any window of discussion between ASU and the federal government prior now or before now? Because I could still remember the last time your union went on a strike, or mother of all strike, was in October of 2022 when you called off that last strike. So my next question is, since that October 2022 till date, have there not been high levels of meeting between your union and the federal government to resolve most of these issues, rather than making it this long and now coming to the fold and now resulting to an issue of mother of all strike? Let's understand, have there not been consultative meeting between your union and federal government to iron some of these issues rather than bringing them up now?
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, they have been. Because like you mentioned, the last time we had an action and discussion with government, 2022, the Libris Committee, to show that there's evidence of consultation with government after that. That was why government inaugurated the Yahya Ahmed committee to renegotiate the 2009 agreement. And this committee, of course, Yahya Ahmed, the former head of service of the federation,
the federation.
is also one of the pro-chancellors appointed by government in one of our own
He's from the academia.
And the government decision to set up that committee was also due to the expiration of the timeline the government gave to the Nemibris committee, and they needed to keep discussing going forward so that we'll avoid the industrial unrest. And we have been engaging that committee, and I think in December last year, the whole talk about the negotiation with that committee ended in December last year. So they were meant to return back to their principal on the second week of December and come back to the ASU team to say, okay, based on what they have proposed with the committee as the options, this is their principal government is going for. Because before they started, ASU asked, I hope you have the mandate of your principal, not the one who will start. You will not set up another committee to keep reviewing. They said yes. You understand? And they brought the evidence. So a draft agreement reached. Because the basis of that committee, the committee agreed that they will start their discussion from where Nemibris stopped.
Okay.
You understand? Which the government gave them to go ahead. So a draft agreement has been reached. They are supposed to get back to the union at second week of December last year. They never did. So the union had to now pressurize when we had some protests earlier in the past, so many press releases. That was why they now submitted their report to their principal in February this year with a timeline to return back in few weeks. Now we have been waiting February, nothing is happening, keep waiting, and the union had to remind them. And that was why before our last next meeting at Sokoto, now government now hurriedly, seeing that pressure might likely come, government now hurriedly set up another technical review committee to review what their own committee has submitted. That was the committee that met on the 28th of August. Okay. And they are meant to give us what they are offering based on what has been reached with Yayale Ahmed committee. And we are yet to get that impact. But one thing I must give to the government, that technical committee that is set up to review, trying in line with our proposal to remove the bottleneck, had the Minister of Education, the Minister of Labour, the NUCES, the Third Fund ES, you have the Chairman of Salary and Wages Commission, the DG Budget, the Minister of Finance, because we said we don't want a situation where at the end of the day, you say, okay, it was my officer, my subordinate that did what was not asked to be done. So that's why in the wisdom of the approach and what government proposed is that whatever you want to review, use those that are part of FEC, the Federal Executive Council. Yes. Let them be part of it so that we don't go over this again. Yes. So that's the current state of the discussion. There's no signal yet on what they are looking at. And that's why we just need to keep reminding them, because the truth, we are also parents. We have our wards and children in this university. We are not happy with the standard of activities. And the truth is this, once you lower your standard of activities, it damages the image of our country. So we are not happy. We want things to work well. And that is why if it will take us to be those that will salvage education area, we are ready for it. Because presently now, Nigeria is still budgeting below the UNESCO standard. And Nigeria is a treaty. We are part of the treaty of UNESCO. With the budgetary provision percentage for education. And when we are saying education, we are not just saying universities. Yes. Education from primary school up to tertiary institution.
Okay, well, it looks as if you've given us clarity on that. But irrespective of that, Nigerians are still agitated and a bit not certain to know where the direction or the pendulum will swing next. And the reason I'm saying this now is the last time we heard anything from ASU was last month when they gave us that very great warning that there will be a mother of all strike. Now, my next question is, where are we at the moment? Let's try to understand. Since that very utterance from the Minister of Education and also the clarity being given by the Ministry of Education on account of that very agreement, I know the last time your union sat down was towards the ending of last month. I could still remember it was in the University of Benin, and we had that Professor Igbofu come out to talk about the issue of ASU. But where are we at the moment? Is there ongoing negotiations with the federal government in averting that mother of all strike? Or are we just still with the impasse of no negotiations, nothing on the table, and most likely we might run into another lengthy industrial action? Let's understand where we are at the moment.
All right, thank you. I think where we are at the moment is not too different from what I just said last, that the government has set out their own technical review committee to review what their committee have submitted to them. So we are still waiting for them. And it's good Nigerians understand that we don't enjoy strike. Strike is usually the last resort. That's to tell you there are successive activities. The good news is that we have some non-government actors. That is goodwill of some notable Nigerians that are also mediating on this issue. Okay. And we are listening to everybody. Because we don't want to shut down the system, but it's usually the last resort. And that's why Nigeria should know that we shouldn't be looking at the effects, but we should be looking at the cause. Strike is an effect of something, and we should focus on the cause. You understand? It's the failure of government that is leading to the strike. So strike is usually not the issue. You understand? It's usually not the issue. The issue is what we have discussed up to this point. So here now, I cannot tell you what will be the next action of our union. But the union will went and look at the way the pace at which government is going. The union will definitely decide what it is. Like I mentioned, strike is usually the last resort. And if since 2012 there have been discussion or renegotiation of the 2009 agreement up to this point, nothing has been done. But it's terrible because part of the component of the 2009 agreement is that every 3 years, so 33 years, it will be reviewed. And nothing has been done. And don't you think that's also a breach of an agreement entered? I have an entire agreement with you. We signed it off together to say every 3 months, 3 years, we'll be doing ABC. We are still not doing. That's also a breach on its own, but we are not talking much on that. We are just talking implement those components and let us put an end to it so that we can advance. And note another new aspect was I think we have not discussed it, the proliferation of a university. You have university, you have not been able to, you have not been able to fund it, you are establishing more. It's not a constituency project. Of course, we hear the government made a pronouncement. Because Nigerians are aware that we have been canvassing against proliferation of university. The government has made a pronouncement that they are putting a 7 years ban on establishment of a public university. For us, it should go beyond a presidential pronouncement. What we proposed was an amendment to the NUC Act to put standard conditions. If you want to establish a university, you must provide the funding and lock it in CBN that will sustain that university for the first 5 years incubating period. Not setting up a university, then you will not be looking for third fund to come and do what you are supposed to do. You understand? Yeah, government have made a pronouncement, which means if government change tomorrow, another government will make a counter pronouncement. So we are still reminding government, it's beyond that pronouncement. They should also go through legislation and make it an act of parliament. But you see the funny thing about government, Nigerians know that we're canvassing against proliferation of university. But when the pronouncement was made from the affect meeting, they never gave credit to ASU. But it's not a problem. Like we said, we should focus on resolving the cause, not the effect.
Okay, now let's still remain with that because another major issue when we talk about proliferation of more universities is the issue of funding, and which has always been a bottleneck, especially as it concerns not just education but almost every other sector of this great country. Now, let's look at the issue of funding. Yes, that has also been a bane while we are having brain drain, especially as it concerns more lecturers in our universities going overseas for greener pastures. Let's come to the issue of funding. Do you feel government should hand off funding if they are not able to handle it? What would be the best way to go at the moment? How? Because we look at many other universities overseas. Yes, we do know, like the United States of America, the government brings some certain grants to these universities for them to live on. But basically what they generate is what they live on. So is it not time that the universities will be let to handle the monies they generate and use it to sustain themselves? Would that not be the best way forward, rather than going through one agreement to another agreement, reviewing a previous agreement to end up reviewing the present agreement? Let's look at all of that. Would that not be the best way to go?
Now, thank you very much. These two things you just mentioned were also component of the same discussion we say with 2009 agreement, 2009. Because the concept of revitalization fund was to bridge that gap in funding, take the standard up to a certain level, then so that the university will now have the capacity to be attracting grants and see how we leverage on that.
Yes.
Now, governments, it's like you are building a house or a company. You want somebody to help you up to a point. You must take it, and you are the proprietor, you must take it to a certain level where people will know that you have made effort to show that you own this thing. That's where the concept of realization complaining about inadequate and inconsistently. and you have not been able to fund what you have. You are establishing more. That was what led us to learn. So all these things are interconnected. Then you talk about allowing universities to use their IGRO. That is
Yes.
where the concept of university autonomy that is part of that same document came in from. And you discover that that led to one of the reasons that the union resisted the introduction of IPPIS,
Okay, yes.
because
In
IPPIS
payment.
eroded this concept of autonomy. And also, we also told government the TSA policy, yeah, the TSA policy, let me tell you the truth, my brother. It is one of the things that are hampered development in public universities. Because most funding agency, when companies and foreign agents fund research or particular via grant, it is meant for that dedicated purpose.
Yes.
So, which means the fund should be accessible to the researcher to deliver on the mandate of the funding agency. But with the concept of TSA, all fund comes in, goes into a single account. So it's no longer dedicated for any purpose. So everybody goes to that pool and take. And that is one of the bane why you now see that since the advent of this adoption of urban policy or in the education sector, we are finding it difficult to even pull that and make meaningful sense out of researches. So most of the grants now that are coming are now individual grant by individual researchers, no longer institutional grant. Because when the fund comes in, to get access to that fund to utilize it based on the mandate of the funding agency now becomes difficult. And that is why we explain to government, you cannot run a university the way you are running the civil service. You cannot. Because university running is university gave us a concept of what happens overseas.
Yeah.
Why can't we create that kind of environment here so that what happens overseas can still happen here? In those climes overseas, companies bring their challenges to the universities and they fund university researchers to come up with solutions dedicated to them. Now we are not doing that. But you now see a situation because of this poor funding, we now have Nigerian academia that are leaving the shores of Nigeria overseas to provide solutions for them. That is why we are still foreign dependent in terms of technical solutions to solve our problem. And if you go there, much of this novelty, these beautiful ideas, this new technology, this new concept have been developed by Nigerians over there. You can read it. Is it the medical line? We have a lot of Nigerians. Why can't we create that environment here so that we will not become the hub of Africa? If we cannot become the hub of the world, it's not the hub of West Africa. Let's leave Africa first. We are not just leaving Nigeria to Niger Republic, Benin Republic, because of better welfare. So at least let us have short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Short-term, let us upscale our activities to become the hub of West Africa first. Then as we progress, we can be competing with South African universities to still be among the top South African universities in Egypt, so that we can measure around the top in Africa. Then from there, we could build into the global landscape. But for you to compete globally, then you must try to provide the same enabling environment that those people thrive in. That is basically what it is.
Okay, well, anyway, as much as you've talked a great deal about the issues that is bedeviling the tertiary institution and also that your association is agitating for, I want us to leave that and come to another major issue that seems to also to be on the front burner of education sector, and that concerns Nigeria. Now, there's this recent move by JAM to lower the score mark for admission into our different tertiary institutions. Now, ASU has come out with many talk, especially as it concerns that, and they've kicked against it. No surprise, there was this issue of post-UME to help also screen those that have already passed into the different institutions. Now, let's look at the issue of putting or lowering the marks. Does it make any sense lowering the marks at the moment when we're talking about poor academic values of our students in these universities? Where does ASU stand on that issue that the federal government is trying to lower the marks to get people into our different tertiary institutions?
Yeah, thank you very much. ASU stand is very straightforward. ASU stand is, using that concept, is eroding the autonomy of our university senates, because via University Statutes and Establishment Act, the university senate that has the power to set out the admission criteria and academic standards in a university. You cannot just sit somewhere, gather all vice chancellors together, and you give them that this is what A and B should do. That's it's quite alarming, but that's why you see some notable universities, I will not want to mention names, they don't even go in line with what was proposed by JAM. We have some universities that over the years they don't go beyond 200.
Yes.
Even when JAM is proposing, I think 150 or thereabouts. But it
150.
tells us that, it tells you the beauty of this narrative. It tells you the way our educational system have degenerated up to this point. Because I remember in the past, for those who have 200, they struggle to get university education. It therefore means that today we are admitting those that score 100. 100 over 400, you admit them into tertiary institution, maybe polytechnics and the rest. Man, that is far below average. Far below 100. It tells us that the problem is not even just left for tertiary institution. The problem now is even coming from the secondary schools. And one thing I must say, I might not want to blame the students completely for the poor performance, but the truth is this. You know, JAM now is CBT, right?
Yes.
Now, when you talk about digital literacy, and they are two different things.
Yes.
Now that I can use my smartphone, you understand? And I use digital tools. And the way JAM is done now is through CBT, which means the students will be using computers with mass XYZ, not their smartphone. Now go further. How many of our secondary schools have access to ICT lab, where the children will be prepared up to the point of writing JAM? Yes. You recall the last while that was written, my brother, we had situations, we saw videos and pictures where students were writing exams in the dark with candle lights.
Yes.
How do you expect good grades to come from such kind of environment? And that's why you see, no matter how poor the performance of JAM was, you see that students that still attend secondary schools that have good infrastructure and they have teachers on ground still perform. We see students, schools celebrating 350, 330, 330, and so on and so forth. Which simply means once you put the enabling environment there, you have a dedicated and well-motivated workforce, you will get a beautiful result. But when you fail to do that, you will get what you get, because the truth is this: you cannot plant cocoyam and you want to harvest potato. It is what you prepare for that you get. Now, these students now will not come to us. We will not belabor ourselves to try to push them up. That is why, to bridge that interface, university now conduct post-UTME. You understand? And that is why I'm happy that the government have recently aligned to some of our propositions, where we said the focus should no longer be about access to education. We should now be focusing on what? Delivering quality education. That should be the focus. And when we say quality tertiary education, my brother, if Nigeria were to be running well in terms of tertiary education, not everybody should be in the university, because in a developed clime, the technical schools are there to provide dedicated skills. The polytechnics are there to provide dedicated skills. The college of educations are there to provide dedicated discipline skills. And you have the universities that provide the dedicated skills. Everybody has our own role. But because we are failing, and you now see government upgrading to universities, not in line with the original mandate. Government upgrading college of education to universities, not in line with the original mandate. How do we now aggregate these diverse skills in our economy and see how we can advance? Because the truth, I believe in your company, in your TV station, not everybody have the same role. You need people to play different roles, but they need to be trained in those aspects to make the entire system efficient. But now we have a system now that is not tailored towards that, and we shouldn't keep quiet. Nigeria should join us and clamor that the future of this country now belongs to the hands of Nigeria. We must decide and determine where we are heading to.
Well, anyway, I feel where we are heading to now is a total conclusion on our discussion, because time is not a friend, and we really need to let you go. I do know you have a series of meetings, but you needed to oblige us and really have to discuss this issue with us. Undermining, it's not like you are predicting doom, but you don't know where the pendulum will swing next, whether there will be a strike action or not. But in all the same, we need to really thank you so much, and I'm talking of no other person but Engineer Dr. Wilfred Okologume. He's the present chairman of ASU at FUPRI, right here in Delta State. Thank you so much for your time, and we really appreciate your time. And we might really call upon you again if there's any new development as it concerns that impasse between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of University. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Thank you for your time with us.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you. Well, anyway, that's more like a wrap on the show today. Dialogue, let's get your comments, contributions, and reaction, especially as it concerns our discussion today. We're looking at the recent impasse between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, whether there will be a mother of all strike as been stated by them just last month, or will the government, just like what Engineer Dr. Wilfred said, will make a move, knowing that the Ministry of Education made a move just recently saying, well, sorry, what the Minister of Education said is economical with the truth. The truth is that, yes, there's an agreement between the federal government and ASU in 2009. Like I said, let's get your reactions. What do you feel about this? Should the federal government go ahead and in every way implement that agreement, be it the 2009 or the 2021 draft agreement? Should all of that come for us to avert another industrial action that will put our children at home? All of that reaction, we'd love you to send to our different social media platforms, and most certainly we'll honor them. But for me now, it's a quick goodbye on Dialogue. Let's see how we'll make a return of Dialogue come next week. But you know, Viewpoint still continues. Trending and the news will come on the hour. Bye for now.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace. Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Go.
On me where I did, on me where I did. On me where I did, on me where I did. No matter where you go, no place be like home. Beware. No place like a home. Beware.
Go.
Ogbowura Pharmacy and Tonre Executive Bajo Ìṣẹ̀kírí Youth and dúró lọ́sọ̀ ìgbà dọ́pẹ́ gbẹ́rẹ́ ọpẹ́ pàtàkì rẹ̀ nípàdé ẹ̀rọ ní ààyè bọ́ ṣe gbẹ́nẹ́ wáyé dẹ́sẹ̀ ní máa rò ẹsẹ̀ náà jù ẹni máa gbẹ̀sẹ̀ ká gbáradì nígbà àdúgbò tó wá gbé ní ọpẹ́ náà kà ní nípàdé ẹ̀rọ ògì àmẹ́ Ogbowura Pharmacy ó wá sàgbẹ́rẹ́ bàbá ó wá tó ọgbẹ́ náà ọ̀sán tó náà gbé wá níṣẹ́ kí ìwé ọ̀sánwé òun àtọ́ ìnara dédé kẹfọ́ ẹnẹ tó ń gbówé ẹnẹ lé mẹ́mí ẹnẹ nígbẹ́ ẹni wá bí wọ́n ṣuṣẹ́ gbàgbé ìṣẹ́kí ìrọ̀wá ẹni wà rẹ̀yìn lọ́pọ̀ tẹ̀lé bí wọ́n fọ̀ lọ́jí inauguration nìyẹn èwe tẹ̀lé kí lọ́jọ́ ẹ̀wé ẹ̀wọ̀n náà wá tí ó ní ìdúró ní ogé àmì ẹ̀dọ́pẹ́ tó wá gbà ní oṣù gbà nígbà rẹ̀ ló ṣe ìgbà nígbà tó rẹ̀ àdédé ló ṣe ìgbà nígbà yà rẹ̀ tó ní kété gbẹ́ náà ìṣẹ́kí ìrọ̀wá ogé àmì ẹ̀dọ́pẹ́ ogé àmì
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined, uniquely different.
I am SP Dafe Bright and this is Delta State Police Command. Today we'll be treating and addressing an issue that's different from what we've been doing before, not parading suspect this time, but bringing to you a very important information. Do we know that over 85% of Nigerians do password their phones, whether it's Android phones or iPhones? There's always a password. But how come when we lose our phones, by the time we go to retrieve our lines, we'll go to our bank to check our bank statement, we'll discover that these people who collected these phones must have siphoned the phones. Now, there are times the people who steal these phones, it is not your phone that they actually need. What they need is your SIM card. Now, how does the SIM card become useful to them? Not just any SIM card, but a SIM card that is linked to your bank account, the one that you usually use to receive SMS alerts. That is what they need. Now, by the time they collect your phone, steal your phone, rob you of your phone, what they do is that they remove this SIM card from your phone and insert it on another phone. So your phone does not really need to power on. They don't even need you to give them your phone password. They don't even need your ATM password. The moment they have access to your SIM card, they can do anything they want to do with your bank account, because all they need is to generate an OTP, and the message, the OTP that is called one-time password, will be sent to that your SIM card, and with that they can do anything they want to do with your account. That is why people lose millions of their life savings simply because they lost their phone. By the side of this video, we'll be doing an illustration. You will see an illustration that talks on how you can password your SIM card. Now, the topic that we are here to discuss, passwording of SIM card. When you get a phone, pick that your phone now. See how you can password your SIM card. If you password your SIM card, by the time for any reason, your phone gets to the wrong hand, even if they remove your SIM card and insert on another phone, the first thing that you will get is a prompt that you should enter your SIM PIN. The moment they cannot get the SIM PIN, they cannot use your SIM card for anything. After the trial of 3, the POC prompt will come because the SIM card will be blocked, and you can only unblock that SIM card when you have the POC number. Some of us don't have our SIM pack, because on the SIM pack it is written there the SIM PIN and the POC number. But because some of us don't have our SIM pack, I would advise you to quickly locate the nearest office of your service provider, be it Airtel, Globalcom or MTN. Approach them and request for your POC number. Once you've gotten your POC number, you follow these instructions and ensure that you password your SIM PIN. Your SIM PIN is very, very important. On my phone, for instance, once you turn off the phone and you turn it back on, you must enter your SIM PIN. If you cannot enter your SIM PIN, the SIM card will be useless. And I'm telling you, once they cannot have access to your SIM card, your money will be safely in the bank. They cannot have access to. There was a time I lost my phone, and it took me about 2 weeks to go to MTN office to retrieve my SIM card. Why did I wait 2 weeks? Because I knew I had a SIM PIN. I knew they would not have access to my bank account. I knew they cannot even use my SIM card for anything. Some of these people, when they steal phone, we'll be hoping that, we'll track the phone. Some of them don't even sell the phone. They will just condemn the phone and just get the SIM card to see if they can have your money. Please, they say a word is enough for the wise. It is very, very important. Don't see this video and just pass it by. Watch this video to the end. We're almost approaching the end of the video. Ensure that you take the lesson. Please password your SIM card. They say a stitch in time save 9. It's very, very important. Make haste when the sun shines. Not be to come. You don't have to start running and start saying, what do I do? What do I do? When you can prevent it. Let's not forget, prevention, they say, is better than cure. Thank you.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Here are our top stories. Tinubu to address world leaders at United Nations General Assembly, September 24th. Federal government unveils 26 new trade skills in overhauled technical education curriculum. Naira rallies at 1,500 Naira per dollar as reserve climb past 41 billion United States dollars. And Ghana accepts Nigerians, other West Africa deported from the United States. And on sport, Venezuela sack coach after crushing World Cup exit. Now to the news in full. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is set to address global leaders at the 80th section of the United Nations General Assembly in New York on September 24th. The 80th UNGA termed Better Together, 80 years and more for peace, development and human rights, opened on September the 9th with high-level debates scheduled to begin on the 23rd. According to the reverse provisional list, Tinubu is listed as the 17th speaker during the African section on day 2. This slot could, however, shift. He is unavailably absent. This year's section begins together, or rather brings together 195 leaders, including 98 heads of state, 44 heads of government, and top ministers. The gathering will spotlight pressing global issues from peace and security to health, climate change, and human rights. President Tinubu's address is expected to outline Nigeria's priority on the international stage while reaffirming its commitment to multilateral cooperation. The federal government has announced a sweeping reform of technical education, unveiling 26 new trade areas set to take effect from the 2025-2026 academic section. According to the Ministry of Education, all federal science and technical colleges will transition into full-fledged federal technical colleges with students required to take at least one trade course alongside general subjects. Education Minister Tunji Aloasa said the reforms will reduce curriculum overload while empowering students with practical skills for self-reliance and national development. The 26 modelized traders are designed to reflect industrial needs and produce a more skilled workforce for Nigeria. The new curriculum also introduces citizenship and heritage studies, a subject combining Nigerian history, civic education, and social studies aimed at strengthening national values and identity. Away from education, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has given the federal government a fresh 24-hour ultimatum to meet its outstanding demand after the expiration of an earlier 10-day deadline. The decision followed a 6-hour virtual meeting of the Association National Executive Council. The NARD President, Dr. Tope Osundara, acknowledged government assurance but insisted on immediate payment of funds and implementation of agreements, stressing that over 2,000 resident doctors are still awaiting their entitlement. He warned that if the government fails to act within 24 hours window, resident doctors nationwide will commence on an indefinite strike from Friday, potentially crippling healthcare services across federal and state hospitals. Former Senate leader Ali Dume has urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ignore calls for the removal of Nigerian service chief, stressing that they have the training and experience to handle ongoing security challenges. Dume dismissed the Northern Ethnic National Forum's demand for the sack of military leaders, describing the accusation of incompetence as baseless and politically motivated. Instead, he recommended what he calls a team approach, training, equipment, ammunition, and motivation, urging that boosting welfare and firepower will strengthen the armed forces' fight against terrorism, banditry, and insurgency. Dume decried the low morale among troops, pointing out that the private earns about 100,000 naira monthly with 5,000 naira daily allowance, which he described as inadequate. He praised the Tinubu administration for maintaining ethno-religious balance in the current security leadership. The senator insisted that removing the service chief now will be counterproductive. The House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation has drilled Finance Minister Wale Adun and Budget Minister Tiko Bagudu over delays in the implementation of the 2024-2025 Appropriation Act. Committee Chairman Abaka Bichi told journalists after a closed-door section that Nigerians were worried about the pace of budget execution. but both ministers pledged to accelerate delivery. Finance Minister Wale Adun disclosed that about 80% of the 2024 budget had been implemented as of September, with priorities on grassroots projects, critical roads, and irrigation. Edu ruled out any supplementary budget for 2025, while Bagudu assured that reforms under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration are already yielding results, stressing a cordial working relationship between the executive and the National Assembly. We need to go on a break, but when we come, more news across Nigeria, foreign, and sports. Join us again.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Tikado Lagos. Or call 0906 9022 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at tikado.com.ng. Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
Welcome back. Now the rest of the news. The Naira has continued its upward momentum, closing at 1,500 Naira to the US dollar at the official market on Wednesday. The second consecutive day it traded below the 1,500 mark. Data from the central bank shows the Naira traded between 1,498 Naira and 1,507 Naira to the dollar, mirroring gains also seen in the parallel market, where rates firmed to about 1,515 Naira. Analysts credit the rally to rising foreign reserve, now at 41.59 billion United States dollar, the highest in months, supported by increased oil production, higher capital inflows, and moderating inflation. With the external reserve now covering nearly 10 months of import, experts said the stronger Naira boosts investors' confidence and eases pressure on households and businesses. But they warn sustained gains would depend on stable oil earnings and economic discipline. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has directed domestic airlines to place unruly passengers on a blacklist as part of efforts to protect airline staff and improve travel safety. The NCAA's Director of Public Affairs, Michael Achimogu, said the move is meant to deter disruptive behavior and ensure that the crew members are treated with dignity and respect. The directive follows repeated complaints of verbal and physical assault on airline staff during flight delays and cancellation. Airlines present at the regulatory meeting include Air Peace, Arik Air, Ibon Air, Green Africa, and others. The authority also discussed issues of refunds, compensation, baggage handling, and introduction of RFID back tags. Officials insist airlines must do their part to protect customers, while passengers must learn to respect aviation rules. Away from that, Ghana has begun receiving West African nationals deported from the United States of America, including Nigerians. President John Dramani Mahama confirmed on Wednesday the first batch of 14 deportees made up of Nigerians, a Gambian, and other nationals have already arrived in Accra, the Ghanaian authorities facilitating their return to their home countries. President Mahama explained that the United States approached Ghana to accept third-party nationals, and the government agreed since fellow West Africans do not require a visa to enter Ghana. Meanwhile, Nigeria has rejected similar overtures from Washington. Foreign Minister Yusuf Taga stated in July that the federal government will not accept deportees from outside Nigeria, citing national security and economic concerns. This agreement follows Washington's intensified deportation drive under President Donald Trump, who has struck similar deals with countries like Rwanda, Eswatini, and South Sudan. Despite strong criticism from human rights groups, observers warned the new move could test regional solidarity in West Africa, so the countries weigh the benefits of cooperation with the United States against the risks of domestic backlash. And still on the foreign scene, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has sacked British Ambassador to the United States Peter Madsen after explosive revelation about his ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The Foreign Ministry confirmed on Thursday that Madsen was withdrawn with immediate effect after newly uncovered email showed him defending Epstein following a 2008 conviction. In the emails, Madison reportedly told Einstein he was here whenever you need, and even urged him to fight for early release. The Labour veteran also suggested Einstein's first conviction was wrongful. Madison, once dubbed Labour's Prince of Darkness, has twice resigned from government in the past controversies. Speaking to the BBC, he admitted he relied on false assurances of Einstein's innocence. The scandal has sent shockwave through Westminster and cast a shadow over Starmer's young government. And talking sport, Venezuela national football team has parted ways with head coach Fernando Batista and his entire technical crew following the country's failed World Cup qualification campaign. The decision came after President Nicolas Maduro called for a total restructuring of the Vinotinto technical crew, describing Tuesday's heavy home loss to Colombia as a painful defeat. Venezuela, the only CONMEBOL nation never to qualify for the World Cup, has hoped the expanded for the 2026 tournament will boost their chances, but their defeat left Bolivia claim the playoff spot after a surprise win over Brazil. In the aftermath, Peru also dismissed their coach, Oscar Ibanez, after finishing just 2 wins from 18 games. For Venezuela fans, Batista exit signals yet another painful reset in their long pursuit of a maiden World Cup appearance. And still on sports, Denmark international Christian Eriksen has joined German Bundesliga side Wolfsburg on a free transfer, signing a deal that runs until 2027. The 33-year-old midfielder, who was released by Manchester United at the end of last season, says he's excited for the new adventure and confident of making a difference at the club. This move marks Eriksen's third cup since his dramatic cardiac arrest during the 2021 Euros. After stints at Brentford and United, the playmaker now links up with 5 other Danes already in Wolfsburg squad. Eriksen has earned 144 caps for Denmark, scoring 46 goals, and his Bundesliga switch signals yet another chapter in a remarkable career comeback. And that's the news. Thanks for remaining with us on Atlantic TV. Remember, you can send any news report to us on social media and also follow us on our different social media platforms. God bless you. Have a great day.
My name is Desaka, comedy catalyst, one of Nigerian comedy.
Alright guys, back again, yes boss, my name is Osh Baby.
Yeah, what up people, it's your boy Victor 80.
Girl in your life.
My name is my wife and just celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV, we wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different. Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, it's Trending O'Clock, and you know how we do it right here on Trending. I am Mercy Irabo, and I am not alone here. I have with me Michael Gubadia, and together we'll be talking about all the trending issues, and of course, give our opinions about them. So what's trending today?
Well, I'm eager to know.
All the way to South Africa. Big steps towards gender equality. I think equality is winning. So the Constitutional Court ruled for men to accept their wife's surname. So men can actually just adopt the men's surname, the women's surname. So it's not just the other way around where women will keep adopting their husband's name. South Africa's Constitutional Court has ruled that men can adopt their wife's surname, striking down gender discriminatory sections of the law. So they feel the law has been gender discriminatory. So it's best now if a man wants to adopt the wife's surname, he's free to do that. Mr. Michael, what's your take on this?
Well, it's good. It's a happy one for them. At least now, the women will also be breadwinners of the home. Because if I can accept your name, you will provide.
They didn't talk about breadwinner.
No, come on. It's good. Because women in Nigeria answer our name because we are the breadwinners. We supply for the home. So it's better to them in South Africa. Don't worry, I'm coming there. I will answer Mikavigi. The woman can take care of all my needs, no problem. I'm ready to answer the full name.
But the truth is, they didn't talk about being providers and all of that. But the truth is, if a man decides to adopt the surname of his wife, the man is obviously a lazy man.
Oh, you see, now we go.
The man is obviously a lazy man because he feels the woman is the husband. So that's why he needs to take the woman's surname.
So she should also sit up
yes,
like
I'm
a
sure
husband.
for a woman to actually take that responsibility of giving the guy her surname, then she should be able to do that as well, to be the breadwinner.
No, so
She'll be provided. So
it's now gender equality for us men. No more women requesting for everything. We now will be pushing for our own. The woman will supply us our boxers, will supply us all our food, supply us all our drink with our friends.
So have you not seen situations where this actually happen, where women are doing all of this and they still take their husband's surname? And they're actually the providers of the family.
But now it's more legal.
So that's what I'm saying. It happens. It's not like it doesn't happen. So women can do all of that and still be answering the man's name. So I think South Africa, they did a good thing for the women.
So
it's a
Nigerian men,
bold step
here we go.
towards
South
gender
Africa.
equality.
We'll be going to South Africa soon. We want to answer the women's name.
All right, please don't leave me here though.
Oh, okay,
All right, still talking about marriage. So Pastor David Oyedepo Jr. came out to say that he has never had an argument with his wife for 17 good years of marital bliss. So no heated arguments, no fights, no why didn't you put back the toothpaste cap on and all of that, Mr. Michael, for 17 good years.
Well, can't you look at the pictures? They look alike. So when people look alike, they hardly have quarrels. Yeah. So I feel you might be saying the truth. Oh, I didn't know. I don't know. I was not there. I'm only a journalist on Atlantic TV. I was not there. But all I will say, so you people have never quarreled since for 17 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, when there's money, there's no quarrel.
Apart from when there's no money, there are some silly arguments. You cannot tell me that for 17 years you've not had. I'm sure that marriage would, I don't know, be boring.
No, of course. You can
like,
say, honey,
there are some
where are you?
things.
I am here. Are you sure the light is on? Put it on. Are you sure we need to
I know
go?
we women, we can just get angry for silly reasons. Like,
and women that understand you women, we know how to follow.
I can just be like, Mr. Michael, why didn't you put back the toothpaste cap on? And that would turn an argument.
Honey, I was waiting for you to take your own.
Okay, I think this 17 years of marital bliss, this is next level of patience. What do you think? It takes a whole lot of patience.
Okay,
because
please, I will appreciate if you don't ask me what I think, because I doubt if I have that patience.
Okay.
For 17 years, not quarreling. Then what am I using my mouth for apart from presenting on Atlantic? It has to come.
You're supposed to use your mouth to quarrel.
Yeah, that's a sign of.
I feel it's going to be so boring. So boring. Just
they have a way of enjoying it. To be honest, Mercy, let's be frank. If there's every morning, I take you to your flight to Dubai, I give you everything you want. The cars are there. Everything you request for, everything. Would you quarrel with me as a husband?
That's why I said silly things could cause the issue. Okay. Like coming home late. Honey, where are you? I am on my way home. Since when did you close from work and all of that? That could. 5. And then you're coming home 10 p.m. What do you mean?
I'm saying, honey, don't be angry. The money is there.
The truth is, it takes a lot of patience. But I don't know how possible that is not to have any form of argument
ask them
for
so they
17
will teach us
years.
better.
I think when I am planning to take that bold step, I would ask them for manual.
Yeah, I'm already asking.
You're already asking, okay. So I think I'll ask them for manual. So our third story for today. Just this week on Trend, Mr. Michael, we talked about reading terms and conditions. Like so many people, that was when Pastor Paul Enichi talked about the loan apps and all of that. And I said they wrote it boldly on their terms and conditions that we Nigerians mostly, we don't read terms and conditions. And now one woman read terms and conditions, and what she saw was really shocking about her children's new school. Well, let's see the footage. Okay.
Yeah,
so
we'll try and gather that footage. I seem to understand.
Yes.
I've seen that footage myself, and is one that really was surprising in every way.
Yeah.
Where they said the life of the child is not, they are not entitled to the life of the child.
Yes, it's not their responsibility whatsoever happens.
And you ask, how is that possible? How is that sane? When a child will be with you from maybe around 8 a.m. to about 2 p.m. and we're talking about 6 straight hours, and you're saying the life, then what are you doing?
The child is obviously your responsibility. As long as this child is under your care for the number of hours, this child is your responsibility. Whatever happens to this child is, you should be able to bear the loss of it and all of that. Not you coming out to say that you cannot be held responsible for anything that happened to this child's life. And the fact that they used the word "this" and anything that happened to this, like they were just talking about the child's life as if it was just something like something ordinary. Like, and you coming out to even tell me to sign, it means that things have been happening in that school. And that's the reason they're just trying to, like, okay, whatever happens,
take their hands off it.
Whatever happens, we are not to be held responsible and all of that. I really wish that lady was able to drop the name of the school so that we could just stay clear from that school.
Or go and ask further questions as being journalists on why that should be inserted in a form that the parent would sign.
That's terrible.
Questions need to be asked, especially to that very school. Why are you putting such conditions on parents, telling them you're not entitled to the well-being of their children? That's what you are indicating with such. And it really calls for concern. And I hope the needed authorities, if they can win in on that school, and ask them more questions. If they are not, well, the full arm of the law should take its course.
Okay, because I think some time ago I saw one footage of a woman that came out. She cried out saying that her a year, 3 months old child, I think 18 months old child, was molested in the school, and the school saying they know nothing about it. So it's more or less what these people are saying, that whatever happens to your child in this school, we won't be held responsible, and that is bad. That is totally bad. Well, that's where we'll stop on this. So you see, it is very important for you to read terms and conditions. Before you sign anything, try to go through it. So you might not be signing your death warrant. You need to go through, yes, you need to go through whatever you need to sign. Don't just go, because I know the terms and conditions are always lengthy and very tiny to read. It might feel boring and all of that, but try as much as possible. They could insert it at the middle. So don't just go to the top and then run to the bottom. So read all through the terms and conditions before you sign anything. Well, Delta State people, gather here.
We are here.
Your government has shaken table. He said that no more wearing of bushy beards, no more wearing of false lashes, no more wearing of false nails, and all of that as a civil servant. Interesting. He said that this will help to make the setting more professional and disciplined. But the truth is, wearing of eyelashes, nails, how is this supposed to affect your work?
Well, anyways, sometimes you go into an office and you have to come out again to read the sign.
Okay.
Am I in a hotel room or am I in a civil service office? Some things you see most of these people wear. I've seen a lady in Asaba, I won't call the name of the ministry. Her eyelashes, all through when we were talking, I was just looking at her eyelashes. Because, wow, it was something else. Her nails were long. I was just like, really? I don't understand. So, I feel it's about time that, let's bring some sanity into the civil service. I'm not even talking of the women alone. Some of the men, the beards they keep, you'll be asking yourself, are they negotiating on behalf of the bandits or are they workers in the ministry? You ask yourself, the way they even dress, I've gone to an office, see a full-grown man of about 40-something flying his trousers, low waist, as they call it. So, come on. In an office setting where there needs to be modesty, there needs to be that sense of discipline.
Yeah.
If we do not get it right in the civil service, where are we going to get it right? So please, if you want to be in the club, let's know you are in the club. If you want to be in the office, let's know you are in the office. If you want to keep those dirty beards, your wife love you the way you are, well, be in the house, not in the office, causing a whole lot of nuisance.
Okay, the truth is they actually ruled out artificial hairs, and this I am putting on is artificial hair. So I should just go with all back, my natural braids and all of that. Is that what you're supporting?
Yeah, they're taking
in as much as we want to be professional, we need to still
let's
look
enjoy
good.
the way these women look. That my mother agreed to say I do to my dad. Let's really begin to understand how these women and men look, their original form. Not putting pressure on new Brazilian hair, 1.5 million, and you tax a poor civil servant that came to say, oh, sir, please give me this form. They're always entitled to buy the latest weave on. They're always entitled to put on the latest eyelashes. They're always entitled to put on. So let that unnecessary pressure be removed from them and let them do their job.
Unnecessary pressure.
Yes,
indeed.
of looking good.
So like this now, I actually pressured somebody to get this wig, right? It's not unnecessary pressure. If you can afford it, you should be able to wear anything to look good. I don't see any reason why, if they were just talking about the bushy beards and all of that.
Or for the men.
Then maybe, I don't know, even nails. I cannot even accept that. I won't accept nails. Okay, maybe eyelashes, at least to help them read well. They should take off those artificial lashes. But you see, hair, they need to look good. I can't even imagine going to the ministry and seeing some persons looking unkept.
Wait, do you mean a woman that is having all back is not looking good?
She will look
or
unkept.
having a low cut hair is not looking good?
She will look unkept.
Oh, really?
Yes, she won't look good. I am saying for you. Okay, just imagine seeing me on set with all back without this wig on. How do you think I will look?
You're looking good before.
Okay, that's what Nigerian men say. They will tell you your all back is better than wigs. Lies from the pit of hell. Run. All right, that's all we're taking on Delta State. But to you watching, do you think this will actually boost productivity, or it's just the government trying to police people's look? Well, you know, you can engage with us. You can drop your comments on all our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV. Yes, for our last story. I know some of you didn't see me yesterday. That's because I was assisting Hilda Bassi. Yes, so we went yesterday to transfer that big pot from the park that it was supposed to be to Eco Hotel and Suites. So, you know, that was the initial venue that was supposed to just take about 3,000 persons. Okay. And they said over 20,000 persons registered to attend. And guess what? These people will be getting free foods, free drinks, and all of that. So Hilda Bassi is breaking another world record today. Yes, look at the pot. We were transferring the sports yesterday, so I couldn't make it yet. I'm sorry, guys. It can never burn it. Oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. So Hilda Bassi is trending. She's breaking, and she's making 250 bags of rice today, Mr. Michael. Where would you rather be?
I'll be, that's over. I'm trying to make us finish first, and I know where to take the next flight.
Okay.
To Lagos.
Okay.
Because my registration was 1,254. That was my position, so I'm close to the front.
But you didn't even know they changed location.
Yeah, no, I got information before you. It's food, though.
You didn't even know they changed location, so you would have just gone to, thank God for trending, you would have just gone to the previous venue, but thank God I updated you. So we are rooting for her. We saw videos. She started with prayer. Even when she broke the last record, she actually started with prayer, and she won. Yes, and she won. And this time around, we saw her praying. And she's set to break another world record of the biggest and largest jollof pot ever. I can't wait to test it.
Well, I hope Ghanaians will now understand where the jollof rice is better taste. Is it in Ghana? I don't want to bring up another controversy. Is it in Ghana or is it in Nigeria? If we can have a Nigerian chesting it that she can cook 250 bags of rice, jollof rice with all the beautiful spices to follow, and you know how much of a good cook she is, then I feel we are leading the top, especially as it concerns issue of jollof rice. And so if case you are a foreigner and you're looking for where to come over to Nigeria and you'll be serving yourself one of the best jollof rice ever. And wow, Hilda is really pushing the limits.
Yes, and I am super proud that it's a woman trying to break this record again. Yes, women, we are always winning.
Men do
what
cook.
can the men do?
We cook.
You cook.
And we support
you've never
the cooking.
broken record.
We support the cooking with our phones. If
You
we
just
don't-
go
if we do
there
not
to eat,
support-
like the way you're planning to go there to eat.
I have my plates and pots.
So why can't men actually break record? Because they're always about women doing this, women doing that. Men break the cooking record, so we're waiting.
It
Cook
was
at
men
home.
that provided the funds. So
Says who? No,
we heard.
no, a company sponsored that, not the men. all right, this is where we have to call it a wrap on trending on Viewpoint on Atlantic Media and TV. Well, it's weekend and we know. So what will you be doing this weekend? Thank God it's Friday. Mr. Michael, what will you be doing this weekend?
Anyway, apart from eating jollof rice, which is a
Okay.
must for today, tomorrow I intend going to a wedding, Sunday going to church and resting, and also getting ready for how awesome on Monday on Atlantic TV
On
will look
Atlantic
like. So
TV.
it's going to be a weekend of relaxation, soul searching, and also preparation for you guys to have a beautiful week on next week.
Yeah, so while you're trying to party, go to weddings and all of that, try to be careful. Don't overdrink, don't drink while driving and all of that. And of course, try to relax. It's weekend. Relax more. You need rest. The body, of course, needs rest all the time. So take that rest. Use this weekend to rest, because I will be in my home resting and sorting out trending gist for you for next week. So you don't want to miss next week edition of Trending. You don't want to miss Viewpoints generally next week, right? You don't want to miss any of that. Of course, you know, you can engage with us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, at Atlantic Media and TV. This is where I have to tell you, have a nice weekend. Once again, I am Mercy Irabo.
Well, anyways, I am Michael Gobadia, and I'm having a great weekend. Will be one I pray for you guys, and as much as you're having a great weekend, also learn to relax. And then let's see how we move the country forward. Let's do the right thing, behave well, and see how we'll at least put humanity where it should be. Well, I'll always tell you, have a great weekend, and let's see how we do this come next week. Bye for now.